Radio, hosted by Steve, Jenny, and his satanic assistant, Alex Houdini, both of whom can't go into churches without vomiting.
Wow, we're back. And how did you get the first slot? What's up with that?
That's because
Wait a sec here.
Someone fucked up along the process.
Yeah, what the hell?
Kicked himself off the stream and they had to come back in.
It's the jet lag. Everything I'm blaming tonight on jet lag. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be. And hey. But anyways, welcome to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. We've been absent for what? 2 weeks?
Two weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. And I don't know if we're even doing one next week, are we?
That's
We doing one next week?
Yeah.
It's a holiday, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Alex
It's some soul work. Yeah. This is the soul work that I did.
Yeah. Wow. Class. Just
Class. Very
class.
class. The show's all about class, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a long couple of days. Like I said, I flew in. What was it? I think I got into Pearson about midnight Saturday morning, and I got in the door I think about 1:30 in the morning, and I probably didn't get to bed until like 5:30 or something like that. Slept for like 3 hours, and I said, screw this shit. I'm never going to get back to normal if I don't. So yeah, it's a lingering effect. Like the first few hours was fine, and then all of a sudden, but I'm not going to lie. My neighbor, he was out, tending to his lawn there or whatever. Hey, you want a beer? Sure. Hey, free beer. I'm not going to give that up. That kind of played a part in it too, damn. But anyways,
Nothing sells alcoholic like jet lag.
Yeah, jet lag. Yeah, wait a sec. I feel better. I feel so much better now.
I feel revitalized with that beer in my system.
Vitalized. Yeah. Anyways, welcome all of you who are watching here on YouTube, and of course listening on the New Visions Radio Network. And we're really super excited and happy to have Gil of the Black Cat Report back on. It was such a blast the last time. We had to say, hey, let's bring Gil back on.
It was such a blast that he grew additional white hair on his beard. Apparently.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. I saw y'all really you moved the fence post.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta catch up. I gotta do something. This is a race now, right?
Yeah, I saw him. He probably still has in his hand the Sharpie, and he was going like,
yeah. So, I thought it was liquid paper. Sorry.
Liquid paper. No, he was trying to cover it up with a Sharpie.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful too, because Sharpie has so many wonderful colors now. So hey.
And honestly, by the time it dries, the fumes have gotten to you, and you really don't even care why you started using it. You're just happy.
I remember, talking about that. I remember one time going. I went into a hair salon to get. I did have hair, but I was
sorry. I'm sorry to laugh.
I want. That's fine. I want.
Say that when I'm taking a drink too.
Yeah, I had to. And I said, "Hey, do you guys? Do you think you can dye this into a flame?" And they're like, Yeah, absolutely. That would be really cool. Sure, yeah. One problem, you're going to be breathing in that peroxide, and back then that's what they're using, like peroxide. And I said, whatever. I don't give a shit. Whatever. Worst mistake of my life. Oh, it looked good. I wish I had a picture of it somewhere, but it looked good. They actually made it look like a real flame. But man, I was like killing. Oh. I don't think I could breathe for a couple of weeks after that. Oh,
I think that's why your sense of smell has departed.
No, that's why I have no more brain cells.
Yeah.
The brain cells of yeah. But anyways, so yeah, talking about brains and DNA and
What a segue.
I know. Yeah, off the chart. But have you guys? I'm sure you guys have heard about this Direwolf thing that is dominating somewhat, kind of dominating
The
the
obscure
news.
tabloids.
Well, it's not. It's mainstream news. I
Yeah.
mean, it's sneaking in there other than the other top stuff. But I mean, a lot of people are, a lot of the articles and everything else are saying, hey, the dire wolf's been resurrected after thousands of years. But I mean, at first you're like, hey, well, that's pretty neat. How do they do it? And I mean, what have you guys read about it so far, or watched, or whatever else, Gil?
Yeah. So there's that director's name, of which I do not remember.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Peter Jackson, and people are gonna laugh because
Oh
that's the
yes.
only Michael Bay and Peter Jackson are probably the only two directors I can name. I'm not a movie buff.
Yeah.
But there's the guy behind Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
whatever the heck his name is, and he was just like kid in a candy shop. He was like a kid with a gift card to a candy shop that
Mm.
his parents didn't know he had a gift card to a
Yeah.
candy shop. Like he just went in so straight. He's like, I've been waiting for months. And there's like photos of him holding these wolf pups and all that, and it became this whole thing. So juxtapose that to um actual, biologists who are responding to it, and it's totally separate. The folks who actually understand all the science
Mhm.
that I was never good enough in math class to even dream
Yeah.
about understanding. Those folks are like, this is the dumbest shit we've ever heard of in our life. This is not a resurrection. These are 20 genes attached onto a living gray wolf species.
Mhm.
And yes, it's a mutation, but it's not a dire wolf. Like
Mhm.
everybody needs to just, put out the fire in their pants, chill
What
out.
is this, like
This is
point
not a
zero
gray
zero 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 zero
wolf.
point one, whatever? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was like, 8675309. They basically just took that song and attached it to the genes, like going down the
Yeah.
line. And yeah, so I'm gonna be honest. I'm smart enough to know I have no clue what the heck's going on. I'm not gonna fall prey to the Dunning-Kruger effect on this one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea. I just know that it's some crazy species of wolf that now exists. That's all I know. That's that's
So
where
what
my
was the
expertise
point of doing
ends.
this is my question. You know what I mean? Like, why are they doing this?
Well, I mean, you hear about people talking about this stuff for years, like, bringing back, because of, saved DNA, or being able to extract some DNA, partial DNA or whatever from these, long extinct animals. And, like, I know for the longest time, you were hearing the woolly mammal,
Yeah.
right? The woolly mammoth or whatever. And you hear the Tasmanian tiger, and things like that, and you're like, wait a sec, direwolf, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Direwolf. I, okay, so maybe we'll do it because just not too long ago there was a TV show called Game of Thrones that was really, really popular. Everyone will love it.
I mean,
So I don't know. Were they Game of Thrones fans or something? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
maybe.
I,
I I listen, as I said last time I was on your show, I listen to a lot of old like 80s and 90s talk radio.
yeah,
I love old recordings of that.
yeah.
Y'all, they have been talking about bringing the woolly mammoth back confidently. And I really want to emphasize confidently saying within the next 10 years, within the next 5 years, next year, they have been saying they're going to bring the woolly mammoth back for like 30 years with full confidence. So, like, I don't believe any of that shit when I hear it these days. The same way that I have a hard time believing that stuff's gonna pop off with Iran because, like, go listen to the news from 30 years ago. It's
Yeah.
the same headlines. Like, they might have got a nuke, and it's like, and in other news, woolly mammoths are gonna be stomping around any day now. Get your mini one now. It's like
So you're saying it's almost like
everywhere.
when Elon proposes a new car for Tesla, it takes that long?
It. You know what? No, I realize I'm a guest in the house. I'm not trying to push back, but I will say I have to put my foot down, right? I will say that at least with Elon, he's able to hawk geniuses that actually do shit way faster than these people are able to create a woolly mammoth. So
Yeah.
I feel like there'll be a new a new Tesla quicker than
Come on.
because Elon's gonna pull up into some cafe and be like, "Yeah, do you want a job?" And they're gonna be like, "Yeah, I don't even know what money is." And be like, "Fantastic, yeah, work for me now." Like, he'll be able to pull that off. But the woolly mammoth, I don't know, man. That's like our genetic El Dorado over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
All they have to do is find fossilized woolly mammoth semen.
That's
That's
all.
it.
That's all.
That's it.
Yeah, but I mean, they do they already have DNA, do they not, for the woolly
They
mammoth?
do. They do. They've got so much of it. And I feel like this is the argument about why the Direwolf was so and I feel like it deserves quotes at this point,
Hmm.
right? I feel like that's why it was so easy because they just kind of like biffed it. They just kind of like we're like, it's close enough. We're just gonna push
Yeah,
it out the door.
yeah, yeah.
Where everything else with woolly mammoths is like that elephant's not hairy enough. I don't believe it. Like they actually have to work for that.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
coming in a skeptic.
No, that's fine, and I, I agree. Come on. I mean, if anything, this whole thing is look what we can do, and look what we're going to move on to do next. And they're like I was reading a couple articles. They are planning to tackle the woolly mammoth, and the Tasmanian tiger, or whatever, But how long is it going to take them? I mean, I haven't read how long it took them to do this particular the dire wolves. Like, I mean, obviously these pups are, well, they're no longer pups. I mean, they're what, 6 months now, 6 months old or something like that. What is it? Two male and one female, I believe. And
Poor female.
huh?
Poor female.
Yeah. 99.9% or 99.95% gray wolf.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but see, but the mutation, it's small now. But if they successfully manage to breed, and it's questionable whether they can or not, or can't because of the mutation. But let's say they successfully breed over time, that mutation is going to spawn into something else.
Is it though?
It's never going to be a dire wolf.
No, it's right? Never. It's going to lose more and more. Of that,
but it's also not going to be a gray wolf anymore either for that species. Like the 95% that's dire wolf, or sorry, gray wolf now. Generations down the road, it's going to be something different. Right. So who knows where this is going to head?
Look, it's got webbed feet now. It's got webbed feet. It can swim like a duck.
Motherfucker can breathe fire.
But
I'm praying. I'm not a praying person, but I'm praying for a dire corgi.
Dire corgi. But I mean, out of all seriousness, though, I this kind of like this is in the mainstream. This is in everyone's sort of consciousness now. I mean, just think the possibilities of the more nefarious sort of experimentation going on. And God knows it's out there. It may be the Chinese or whatever. There has to be some really, really weird shit going on. And for this to to like literally be, oh well, that's okay. You know, this is perfectly fine. We don't have a problem with this. You know, and it kind of, I don't know. Do you think it's opening the floodgates to some darker stuff?
If it hasn't already.
Well, yeah. I mean, the dark stuff's there. I mean, in Japan, I know they've been you know, crossbreeding for a while now.
They're trying to make Godzilla.
Wait a sec. Trying? God, I think it's already there.
That'll be their new defense minister.
Defense minister, yeah. I mean, go ahead. Sorry, Gil, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, am I the only one that's like kind of in that dark position of, you know, if something does pop off in this direction, they feel like a sense of relief. Like I feel glad if things pop off in this Jurassic Park sort of scenario, because I'm like, finally something we predicted. Like I'm not even upset about this. I'm like, we have guidebooks, we have movies, these movies are documentaries now. Like this is great. Like finally something we can handle. So if it does go that route, I'm like, something my childhood prepared me for, but you know, I'm not mad. I don't expect stability in the future. That would just be.
I mean, what's
the 9/11 generation? Yeah, like what is that? You know,
there is no stability.
Yeah, so if it does pop off that way, I'm like, I'm gonna be able to go to my, you know, my DVDs or my Netflixies and look through the collection and be like, ha, yes, this will prepare me for tomorrow, finally. Otherwise, I don't know what the hell's going. If they bring back some like long lost vampiric like dragonfly that just for some reason becomes the #1 threat to society, I'm not prepared for that. I'm not prepared for that. I mean, maybe there's a '90s sci-fi like made for TV movie that I should have saw, but otherwise, I'm screwed. I'm gonna be honest. That's where I'm at with my retirement.
Well, I mean, those are all sorts of genetic bullshit going on already. Anyways, I mean, look at what is it? Mosquitoes, how they're screwing around with killing mosquitoes, or because of you know, malaria and West Nile and everything else that those things carry. But I mean, if you're bitten by one of these mosquitoes that has this sort of whatever, I mean, what does it do to the human? You know, that we don't know, that they say it's completely safe, but we've heard that a million times where something's gone awry.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that this would be cool to see. Trust me, I'd love to see this happen. But the thing is, are we going to be on the bottom of the food chain? What's it going to be like to be on the bottom now?
That just came out wrong.
I know.
We're finally all.
If anybody can answer in the chat, please answer Steve's question.
Yeah.
Here's here. There's a lot of rainbow flags popping up. I don't fully understand what's happening here. But no, speaking of all being bottoms, getting us to the bottom because you know, there's one of my favorite urban legends, and I never dug into this far enough. Have y'all are up in Canada, and have y'all ever heard of love bugs?
Love bugs?
Yeah, this might be new to y'all.
No, I've heard of love bugs.
You have?
Love bugs.
I'm not overly familiar about it, but I have heard of them.
Okay. So I used to live in Tampa, which is like central western Florida, right? So if you're looking at a wang, it's the right side of the wang facing the Gulf, right?
Yeah,
that's where the vein is, right?
Yeah, just like right by the bulge, and so you still live in Tampa, and that's when I'm from Ohio, northern, you know, like almost neighbors to y'all up in.
So you're in Ohio. What? So you're in Ohio right now?
No, North Carolina. No,
you're in North
I
Carolina.
gotta keep guessing. I gotta keep you guessing. Yeah.
But Tampa, yeah, I'm familiar with Tampa. I've been there several times. St. Pete's.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, gorgeous.
I love it there. Yeah, I love it.
So when I moved there, there's a season that pops up. Forgive me, I don't remember the month. It's like 2 weeks out of the year where it just gets inundated. And when I mean inundated, I mean like I didn't know Florida owns snow plows. Inundated with love bugs, these horribly ugly looking small flying bugs. They're just everywhere.
Yeah.
And this is no joke. They bring out snow plows to clear the streets because there's so many of these little flying bugs everywhere that cars get into accidents because you go to stop and you just start sliding on the bodies of these bugs. So like cars are getting into all sorts of chaos erupts. I absolutely love it. But you have these little bugs. Something that's fun about these little love bugs is they don't have a way to reproduce, right? More or less. But more so, they don't have a way to eat, right? So these bugs just like pop up, they can't really eat, and their reproductive process is questionable at best. And I say that because like they're only fertile for like 2 days. And then it's just like nothing works and they're just making love. Like that's all they're doing. They just pop up.
Yeah.
They have like a brief window where they can screw and cadoo, and then that's it. And it's just full on chaos everywhere for a couple weeks. And obviously the birds eventually come in and it's great. Well, the University of Florida, as the legend goes, the local lore goes, University of Florida genetically engineered these bugs to kill mosquitoes.
Oh,
they released them. And when they released these bugs, well, the bugs didn't kill mosquitoes. They pretty much didn't do anything. They just caused chaos, and died immediately. And so now, just every single year, there's these cycles of genetically engineered bugs causing mass chaos throughout Florida, and then just dying. They just you just see like 5, 6, 7 of them in a chain, just having extramarital relationships flying through the air.
love chains.
And I love them. I love them for that. It just reminds me of how small I am in the world, and I really appreciate that. But I like to think direwolves are going to be like that. There's going to be so many. There's just car accidents from sliding across their body.
What season do these love bugs come out? Because I mean, I'm usually down. I've been down there all sorts of times of the year, but I don't think I've ever seen a love bug down there.
Springtime. So hit up Newport Richie, especially if you want to go sponge diving, but there's no sponges left, but that's most of their industry. If you want to sponge diving, hit up Newport Richie, which is just north of the Tampa area, Tampa St. Pete area. Newport Richie is a good spot to go. And that's when you'll see like the snow plows come out. And it's a fun fact about the world. That's all I can say. It's like, y'all got to deal with this.
Oh man, talking about genetic fuck ups. Holy shit! That's So, I mean, has anyone actually like tried to trace it back to they did actually genetically whatever to these bugs or whatever create these bugs?
I can say from like going to it's like my early 20s and like kind of like going to parties and like drinking and talking with folks and kind of like getting to know the area that I'd moved to. It was common sense. Let me put it that way. Like it was just everybody was like, oh yeah. And then you're dating somebody and you go and you meet their mom and over dinner, and obviously you bring up love bugs over dinner. I mean, who doesn't? And talking about it there, and it was just everybody. It was just 100%. Everybody knew this. I don't know how documented it is, but it's common sense down there.
Insane love.
Weird as hell. I don't know what
to... Exactly, love bugs. I'm trying to think
so they were bred to have orgies, is what you're basically saying.
More or less, yeah. It's like an Epstein Island everywhere, just like everywhere.
How appropriate that they're in Florida.
Yeah.
Frank says they've been known since 1910 in Florida, so hardly genetically engineered.
Frank, I hate to push back. I don't know you. You sound like a great guy from the sentence I've seen, but I'm just going to tell you that in the Tampa area, it is embedded folklore. I learned this from the folks there. If this wasn't true, I would not be surprised, but it is surprising how much people believe this, and that's something that I always just appreciated.
So talking about dire wolves, so why don't they do like a Sasquatch? Why don't they try? All these people are coming up with, hey, look, I got some Sasquatch hair, Bigfoot hair, and look I've got his feet. I've got a carcass in my fridge, in my deep fridge.
Freshly cut with my samurai sword.
Yeah. So why don't they try doing a Bigfoot? Creating one
Honestly,
from nothing.
Direwolf came out of left field, at least to me. I was expecting woolly mammoth first.
Yeah.
Sasquatch might be next. I mean, they might move on to like Chupacabra for all I know. They're like going deep. They're just like, no, we're just going for the deep cuts.
I mean, the thing is, there was, dire wolves. I mean, that was a fact, and that's the strange thing. I mean, now a lot of what we know about dire wolves is mythological, more than realistic, with pop culture and everything. Game of Thrones and so on and so on. But a crypto creature, I mean, but we just don't know about some of these crypto creatures. Maybe they did exist, and maybe they still do, but every once in a while we come across one and it's documented through an experience. Bigfoot, there's so many apparent sightings of these creatures, but yet I don't know, there hasn't been anything solid enough for me to truly believe that it's there. I mean, there has been some, compelling, photos and so on and experience, but I mean, I don't know. I'm still really sitting on the fence about them. I'd like to believe. I want to believe that they do exist. I think it'd be really cool. But I mean, what do you guys think about going with Bigfoot?
Well, they'd have to have some genetic means to say that this is Bigfoot to even try to replicate it. Right? So I mean, at the end of the day, all of these people that say, "Oh, I have," like as you said, a carcass in my fucking freezer or whatever. If that were actually the case, we wouldn't be still trying to look for Bigfoot. We'd know that Bigfoot exists. And then you could try to genetically or bring them back. But I mean, at the end of the day, no one has any solid proof of it. So how can you replicate something you don't know exists?
Well, I look at I kind of equate it to something that's going on right now, and that's a kind of I don't want to say trending. It's not that it's trending, but you're getting a lot of stories now of people in this particular area in southern Ontario that are seeing big black cats. And people are going, well, wait a sec, they're not native, thinking maybe a panther or so on and so on, but they're not native to this area. They wouldn't survive. But I think they would survive quite well. I mean, there's a lot of land that they can use, especially in northern Ontario. They would go unseen, and how do they get here? One of the one of the theories is that, you know, you have the rich folks, some rich folks that are deciding to import them in and using them as hunting to hunt down.
I've heard that.
You know, and it's not just a panther, but other animals as well. But I mean,
Exotic animals.
Exotic animals. This would explain, you know, the sightings. And you know, again, when you look at Florida, Gil, they know all too well about invasive creatures being let out into the environment and wreaking havoc because of something like this, and that being the python, you know, down in Florida, one of many that's wreaking havoc on a lot of the natural habitats down in Florida. Like, I mean, you know, I believe a lot of animals that are, you know, regular to that, you know, parts of Florida are dwindling in numbers because they can't, obviously they can't compete with a python. I mean, even the gators are having trouble, especially the smaller gators are having trouble with these pythons because they go after the babies, you know, the young gators, you know, like if a panther was able to successfully reproduce in this area, it would probably wreak havoc, you know? So just imagine, huh?
Poor cats. The fuck is it going to reproduce with?
Well, that's what I mean. If it's, you know, there, who knows? There could have been two, you know, a male and a female released, right? Yep. If that's the case, then you're in shit.
Yeah.
You know. So just imagine Direwolf. You know, if this thing does produce, and like you said, the mutation becomes something.
Well, that's just it. Like, who knows? Who knows? And I'm not saying it's gonna mutate worse, but who knows? You just don't know. The mutation's in those pups, and if they are able to successfully breed them, who knows what's going to end up happening generations down the line.
Reproduce the fifth dimension and the third dimension. Yeah. But I don't know. It's all in all. I mean, what do you think? Is it up to us to kind of play that sort of godlike sort of image? You know, creating these species that either haven't existed before, or, you know, are being resurrected from the dead, if you will, extinction. I mean, what are your thoughts about that, Gil? Like, I mean, us, you know, having the technology to do this, because I mean, obviously, it doesn't stop there.
Yeah. How shallow of an answer do you want, and how honest of an answer?
You can bring us both. I don't care.
Start with shallow.
Right.
Shallow, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the shallow answer is, yeah, there'll be unknown repercussions. And just like, I'm assuming everybody that's watching right now, you know, we all have as much control over what the hell happens in this process as the other one, right? That's the honest to God shallow answer. Is like, we bought the tickets, or honestly somebody else bought them for us, and we just sat down in the movie theater and we're watching it. Right. Oh my God, somebody brought up Super Soldiers. I haven't seen that movie in so long. I had a science teacher in 7th grade, I think. One of the random movie days that we had in school. They showed us Super Soldiers, and I'm not going to say that influenced my philosophy on life, but it influenced my philosophy on life. That's a great movie, wholly underrated. I'm not going to account for anything that might be cringy these days. I saw it in the 90s, but it was good. It was good, at least by my memory. Yeah, but my honest to God shallow answer is, you know, we all got tickets, and whatever the hell comes up on the screen is what we're seeing. That's my honest to God answer. I can't it's hard to pass judgment on stuff that's happening in the neighbor's house. That's kind of in a certain way how I feel. Deep down, that's not even getting deep. The deep end of it is, when haven't humans played God?
Yeah.
Honest question.
Mm-hmm.
Because what were the arguments for the first person when people were sitting around a fire and they're like, Dave started this fire, right? Yeah, no, he didn't. He didn't go out into the woods and find where God started fire on fire. Like with a lightning strike, he didn't bring it back like we've always done. He started this fire, and everybody got pissed, and they're like, it's not as warm as normal fire is. This is something that is so, playing God is so quintessentially human.
Mm-hmm.
It is so quintessentially human. Playing God and spending millennia dealing with the repercussions that is what it means to be human. In my opinion, in my philosophical beliefs, I'm not passing judgment on if it's wrong or right. Obviously, we all feel different if we get to be the captain of the football team, right? We all would make a different play and make a different call, but to speak very honestly, there is nothing more human than tinkering around with unknown, potentially horrible repercussions. There is nothing more human than that. That is us. Like,
we're inquisitive by nature, right? So that's it's what drives us really at the end of the day, especially when you factor in at the scientific level. You may have scientists here and there that are religious, but the majority of them sort of lean towards atheism, if not outright atheists.
Yeah.
Right. So now there's that void, and this is again that much like you said, Gil. This is my opinion, but to fill that void, what they do is they try to just sort of, as you said, play God by trying to explore, find the answers to immortality, find the answers to all of these questions, like, can we bring back an extinct creature, for example, or can we modify an existing creature to have superhuman strength, or whatever the case may be. It's that drive. It's what fulfills that individual and those individuals, for lack of anything else, right?
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion, like it was yours before, and that's the way it is. That's the way I feel about it, right? So yeah. To your point, we've always been tinkering.
Well, I mean, look at the medical world.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at how we, gain knowledge on the anatomy of the human anatomy.
Well, not only that, we've also extended the life expectancy of humans exponentially.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I mean, if it wasn't for us tinkering,
that's right. Yeah.
We'd still be in the dark ages. But that tinkering is now going to a whole new level.
Yeah.
It's like, what we can, reproduce like organs in pigs, or we can, use, this part of a pig to do a full body, whatever. There's all sorts of shit that's going on. That to us sounds like kind of weird, but in this, they're saying, well, this could save your life, right? And in that case, it's okay. It's going to save my life down the road if I need a new pair of lungs. I'll just they'll just grow it in a pig.
Grow them in a pig. Yeah,
grow them in a pig. Wow, no problem.
I get to have new lungs and some sausage.
They grew human ears on the back of mice years back. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah. I mean, what's the strangest thing you've heard? I mean, I've heard all sorts of weird things. And what was it? Where was it? Were they? they grew. What was it? They what was it? Llamas or goats? One of the two that they outside the embryo or something like that, outside the wound, I believe. They died, but they were birthed and they lived short lives, but they died early. But I mean, and now they're talking about human embryos being able to be born, or uh you know outside the human wound. So I mean, what's next?
Sounds like the Matrix.
Well, the Matrix is more or less just like a, I don't know, I don't want to say metallic sort of, but is it real? It is real. I mean, yeah, come on.
Might be a documentary. Who knows?
Yeah, might be a
But
documentary.
who's to say that this technology didn't bring us back from extinction already?
You mean we are the
Already.
reincarnation of an
No,
extinct
what
species?
I'm saying is, there is theories that there have been several intelligent,
Yeah.
civilizations here on Earth. When you look at the
Like
age
Atlantis.
of the Earth,
Yeah.
you look at the age of the Earth, and you look at the cycles it's gone through, and the fact that if there was other human civilizations here before us, how they were wiped out. Who's not to say that a technology was used to bring us back from extinction?
Yeah. My only thing about that is that by now you'd think we would have found some evidence of that.
Why?
I'm talking about the extinct civilization, because we found evidence of dinosaurs, which would have predated even that civilization.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we haven't found any evidence of a supposed intelligent civilization prior to ours.
But we are, though. You look at Tepe. You look at Tepe in Turkey.
What about
I mean, that's around that's an intelligent civilization that's being uncovered now, discovered, dating back to about 13,000 years ago. And then if you look at the normal progression of humans at that point in the timeline, historical timeline, we were only supposed to be hunter-gatherers. And yet here's this fucking civilization being dated back probably about 3,000 years even earlier than that. And when you look at the stonework of this city, you're like, there's no way in hell a hunter-gatherer could have built this.
You never know.
Alex, I have and this is not to gang up on you. This is honestly just like I feel like it's important to always like push our wits as far as possible in these kinds of conversations, because it's good for our brains. So everybody toast.
Let's just go home.
No, crap, we are home. No. So Alex, following exactly 100% what you said, and blending it with what Steve just said. If a society got to a certain point and there was, to use the parlance, right, to use the lexicon around what I think you were hitting at, Steve, of a great reset taking place, right? Then who's ever in charge of hitting that reset button would know beyond a shadow of a doubt how far archaeology, paleontology, the study of history had gone at that point that the reset button was hit. So yes, you are 100% right in the fact that you said that, wouldn't we have found it? Well, yeah, we would at a certain point. But if somebody that knows, if deciding body or what have you knew at the 15,000 year mark, they'll start to uncover this, we need to hit the button at the 14,000 year mark.
Mm-hmm.
They ever get close to it. So following what you said 100%, it's still possible. If I don't know if that translated, if that made sense or whatever, but I'm just
No,
saying
I know exactly what you're trying to say, but I mean that would
and you're
take
like,
that would take almost to an extent of a particle accelerator wiping everything out.
we already got those.
To Steve's point about the civilization, about the civilization being discovered, they are not modern civilization. I mean, you have to understand, like if you're talking about someone who can hit that supposed reset and sort of regenerate humanity, you're talking about a civilization that is far advanced, not living in stone buildings, so to speak, dug out of caves or what have you. It would have to be a much more advanced civilization than what we currently have.
Yeah.
If you follow what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I guess my point, or I guess my take on it would be, if we have overseers, if we have watchers. I'm not saying that I believe this
like
at
aliens,
all,
you mean?
but it is, 100%, 10,000%. I'm not saying I believe this. I love to let my imagination go down. Go down rabbit holes and just be like, man, that would make sense, which has been I love to let my mind just kind of wander in these directions. When you're talking in terms of great resets, which when you have a great reset, you have two options. It happens because of a
Cataclysm?
what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, there's a cataclysm due to a I can't think of the word. Either an intentional decision that gets made. There's like a too much and like hits the button, or there's a physics based decision that gets made.
Yeah.
You can get honestly, and if you get into like wormhole theory, and if you get into black hole theory, and if you get into string theory, the physics based decision does actually become a thing that is sadly every single day it seems like a new article is coming out where they're like, actually maybe we all spit out of a black hole that spit out of another black hole that spit out of another black hole, and this is all a repeat of crap that's happened 40,000 times, but time didn't exist at the start of that repeat. So there's two main directions. There's the God complex of some sort of decision-making body, and there's the physics complex of some sort of mathematical decision-making body, where it's like variables add up, stack up, weight gets too heavy, everything collapses in on itself. I don't know. I don't have an answer or any rebuttal.
But that's the fun part about talking about
this.
It's
a very good point.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about talking about this, because it sort of forces all of us to think in a direction that we wouldn't otherwise think of.
Can I steal for a moment, Steve? Alex, can I steal for a moment in this?
Go for it. Go for it.
Are you sure?
Yep.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
No.
The Americans have disrespected Canadians enough over the past since January. I mean it with all love and respect. Is it, if I said elbows up, would you guys be like, oh, or would you guys be like, fuck yeah, which one?
Go for it, buddy.
I honestly
elbows up. All right, as an American down here, I'm like seeing Canadians pick up a social resistance to what the American government saying, and I'm like, please resist us. Just do anything you can. You don't want this.
No, you know what? At the end of the day, we all know, a majority of us, I would say, know that it's not the average American that thinks this way. And it's just the select. We know this. And part of the reason why so many Canadians now are refusing to go to the States is based a couple of reasons. Number one, because we're standing up to the whatever. And number two, we don't want to get deported to El Salvador.
Yeah, we're just like literally maple leaf. Like El Salvador. That's the national color of El Salvador.
Yeah.
Well, they're also enforcing stuff that's been in place for years, but they're actually enforcing it now. Like registering as an alien, if you're going to be there more than 30 days, and and all that kind of stuff. And we can search your cell phone now, and they could do it before, but they never really enforced it. Now they're enforcing it. But whatever. I mean, it's just it's propaganda. It's rhetoric. It's just a pile of stuff that is just it's clouded the narrative for normal Canadians and normal Americans. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I have very close family members who I absolutely love, cherish. We are diametrically opposed in terms of politics. They are on the side of the current institution that's enacting it. They're not happy. They're like, this is bull. This is like everybody.
I mean,
just like I was like, wow, I never thought I heard you say that. They're like, this is, but
Gil, there's nothing wrong with having national pride. I don't get it. I get that. People. But and I do understand wanting to bring jobs back and do this and do that and no. But in this day and age, it's just so hard now because everything
is more expensive.
Everything is so globalized now, and I think if anything, Gil, it's really a direct hit on the Chinese, to be honest, because we all know you really can't undercut the Chinese because it's dirt cheap, but the world has relied on them for so long now. It's gotten to the point where what do we do? And
I think that's what the emperor, the president's beef is that
you said it right.
Yeah, that was a faux pas on my part. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I think part of the beef he has is that it's been that long, to your point, Steve, that he doesn't want it to be there. He wants it to be homegrown. But the issue with that is that workers in China are paid next to nothing compared to the workers in the United States and Canada.
Oh man.
So to have something built here that's currently being built in China would exponentially raise the price of that product just by having it manufactured in North America.
I mean, the money that they'd have to you look at how closely integrated the auto sector is in Canada and the US
and Mexico,
and Mexico to an extent, but not as much as Canada and the US. I mean, especially with parts, like the parts are put in these vehicles and they cross the border 6 or 7 times, and for them, it's for the manufacturers, it's easier for them to do this and it's cheaper. Right. And it keeps the cost of these cars down as much as possible. Because obviously, with the North American auto manufacturers, you have to also include unions. I mean, the unions are involved in the pricing of these cars too. And a lot of the competition, the Japanese don't have, a lot of these guys, they don't have fucking unions. Right.
It reminds me in some ways of kingdoms used to marry off their son and daughter to each other across different languages, different cultures, different regions, and it would create this somewhat strenuous, right, kind of like balance. And then after 2 or 3 generations, it became kind of like a standard acceptance, and it's what businesses and shops and ownerships, everything. They kind of, there were platforms built on top of this, like on top of these agreements. That, in my mind, at least how I'd like to simplify it, is exactly what happens today.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, it's not 100% and this and that and the other and yada yada yada, but we kind of have this strenuous social agreement that exists, and workers on both sides kind of rely on pretty much a balance. They go to work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. They make about this much money. Sometimes there's a problem here, sometimes, but like it's kind of it's a balance at the end of the day, and that balance for the folks that are on the ground breeds respect. And I can tell you from growing up in Northwest Ohio in General Motors and Jeep territory,
Yeah,
right, and having
exactly.
gone through the crisis in like 2008 and watched 90% of my city and the cities around me disappear in complete ruin. I can talk about how much of a relationship there is between Canada, the United States, trade agreements, and all this. This is a big deal. And so I'm very sorry to pull your podcast into politics.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No,
it was
fine.
one of the few opportunities where, you know, at least me representing Black Cat Report, I'm able to see some Canadians and be like, "Hey guys, we love you. We're sorry this is happening." You know, like, no, we love you guys.
It's funny because
opportunities we have.
I was
silly, but it's true. It's
I was walking, downtown Vancouver, and on a street post, like a street light post, there was this big poster from some Americans that had slapped it on the post.
Americans go to another country, deface that shit.
It says we love you, Canada. We are really sorry. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. But it's a sentiment. I mean, it goes both ways, Gil. I mean, people aren't stupid. They know that a lot of this is just pure rhetoric and pure bullshit. And it's only a certain percentage of people that really, you especially, if you get into the far right sort of arena, you're going to get a lot of that. Even here in Canada, it's so bad. The far right with the controversy and the conspiracy, and it's
how are you guys doing with RFK, by the way?
Yeah.
Real quick, all I'll say is, as a paranormal ambassador, I couldn't feel more of an urge to say, we love y'all. Y'all have always been cool with us. Fuck these assholes making decisions that don't listen to us. But RFK, I got a lot of people that would disagree with me about my feelings around RFK, and I'm going to be honest, I disagree with most things that RFK says. I try to approach it as balanced as possible. Get dyes and shit out of things. Like I feel like, at least down here, a lot of liberal folks who I'm 99% aligned with, there's a reason why Whole Foods has the name Whole Foods, and I feel like a moron and like I'm patronizing by reminding people of that. And it's because it was based around Whole Foods. Crazy idea. But for a long time in the 90s and early 2000s, things like industrial dyes, genetically modified foods, super taboo within the left. And that's kind of where, I guess I put my tent, right? But because RFK kind of like flipped over to the Trump side, and I'm not saying I idolize RFK at all of a sudden they're like, GMOs are going to save the future, and why is he mad at dyes? And I'm like, can we step back and look at the history of Trader Joe's and Whole Foods real quick, and all of the books and politics behind like genetically modified foods, industrial dyes, and like all of the actual well-documented health problems that come with these things? And can we say that one person doesn't represent our individual politics 100%? Maybe that's crazy. I know that's wild to say. We don't have one person that we believe in, but there's a good portion of what RFK says where it's like, we should cut as much bullshit out of our stuff as possible, and we should rely on things that we have 100-year, 200-year, 300-year history of ingesting and seeing side effects from. That's all I'm saying. I don't care what substitute it is. How much of a history do we know the repercussions from? That's a good idea. In terms of the brain parasites, I don't know what the fuck he's gonna say next, y'all. I can't be responsible for this after it gets aired. I have no idea.
No, I agree. I agree, Gil, with that. You know, the dyes and a lot of the GMOs and stuff that are in American and in some Canadian. Although the Canadian in Canada, they're getting rid of a lot of it. There's still some there, but they'll try to mask it by calling it Aurora Red. Aurora Red.
Yeah.
Give it some lovely name. Sunshine Yellow.
Sunshine Yellow.
I'm not kidding you. That's what they give it. You look at the ingredients, it'll say Sunshine Yellow.
Yeah.
Instead of yellow number 4 or whatever. It's Sunshine Yellow. It's like trying to rename aspartame. I think we got to give this a new name because people have caught on to us.
Shit. Yeah.
But I agree with that. I mean that I do. You do need to bring a more whole food sort of aspect back to the diet sort of thing with I mean to be healthy, or at least healthier. So anyways, we're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching and listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here on our YouTube channel, and of course on the New Visions Radio Network. We've got Gil from the Black Cat Report, and again, the link is in the description to go check out that. Go like and subscribe to the channel, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And when do you usually pump stuff up there, Gil? By the way.
Oh man, we're as predictable as UFOs. We try to shoot for Sundays, but as the person in charge of editing and publishing this week, probably Monday. Once a week. Once a week.
All right. Okay, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. More Nocturnal Frequency Radio in a few minutes.
Good evening. I'm Richard Palmisano, the founder of the Searcher Group. It's a paranormal company, the oldest in Canada. I founded in 1979, which not only makes me old, but makes me doing paranormal research and field work for just under 45 years now. I am also an author, researcher, and lecturer on the paranormal. I've written 6 books now. And I really enjoy coming on with Steve and Alex on Nocturnal Frequency Radio, as well as listening to the shows, because there's a lot of interesting guests there. I like it, looking at this stuff, because it opens your mind to other options and other alternative thoughts. There's always time to learn new things. So I hope you join us and come and see Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Thank you.
So let me ask you, what makes for good radio?
My 5 favorite songs all day long.
Play it again.
No.
As many commercials as physically possible.
What? No, why would that be good?
Great music, great talk shows, no commercials.
Precisely. New Visions Radio gives you no commercials, no nonsense, just the best new music and the best talk all day long, 24/7, 365. NewVisionsRadio.com.
Hey guys, Kristen here, host of the Paranormal Girl podcast, a bingeable exploration and deep dive education about the paranormal for the skeptical believer. Some of my past season topics have included shadow people, Mandela effect, demons, and UFOs. Currently, I am tackling Bigfoot. I have been sharing this journey with my audience since early 2021, and I have learned a lot these last few years. It's truly a mysterious world out there beyond our perceptions, and reality is just not what it seems. I have also, since the start, met some awesome folks like Alex and Steve, and I've really enjoyed watching and learning from them and also joining them on their show. Their guests are always outstanding, their listeners are just the coolest, and these hosts are some of my favorite people. I recommend their show to anyone looking for an intelligent and fun conversation about the paranormal amongst friends. So join me on my investigation, join Steve and Alex on theirs, and enjoy. Now back to the show. You are watching Nocturnal Frequency Radio.
That you are. Welcome back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Frank, you shared the link. I have to look at this. Hold on. Terrified Russians open fire mystery UFO spinning over Moscow. Should I share it?
I think
I don't know. You want to get dinged again or what?
Should I? Hey, Life Beyond 6 Feet. How are you? Welcome to the show.
I know what that is. I want to say, y'all's the folks that are in the chat right now, some of the nicest people, some of the coolest.
Yeah,
where have I heard that before?
We've heard that a few times. We have.
I would not be surprised. I mean, I imagine they're just sitting over there, just tired of the compliments. Like they fantastic folks. I was chatting with them during the break. Awesome folks. A1.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. We have some awesome people that a lot of regulars.
Video now as they speak.
Yeah, here we'll get dung, but that's fine. I don't mind. It's nothing major.
It's for
nothing.
educational purposes
Yeah,
only.
yeah, exactly. What? Wow, why would we get dung? Dung.
Sounds like
You're dung.
Booze.
For some reason.
that's the wrong clip.
We just got to look at Kristen. Just
Yeah.
the only person.
Hold on, let's see. It does that. I don't know.
Melissa has a fetish for fishnets, by the way.
yeah, exactly. Oh,
yes, Kristen, you do have to get us an updated clip.
Yeah. Let me just rewind this. Here we go.
Yo, the Turkish UFO. Immediate. Anybody else? This is. Damn. Looks like me going into Monday.
Why does it look like it's leaving a contrail?
It's me going into Monday, just crashing and burning.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like a hell.
They put their logo right over it. Man, they still got their Christmas lights up.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Oh, look at that.
Damn, this is like 19 angles. This is a lot. This is not a.
I don't know. It kind of looks like a helicopter to me.
Yeah, but that red light. That
in the middle.
Yeah.
They're shooting at it. Look at that.
They're shooting at it, but.
Oh yeah, Russians don't give a fuck. Everybody knows that.
No, they don't. It's all that vodka blood.
Bro. Potato in the vein.
They don't make it. They just fucking squeeze it out of their
Where
veins.
do you think it comes from? Where do you think it comes from?
It comes
baby
from their
sweat.
veins, man.
Russian potato. Russian baby sweat.
That's messed up, man. Whatever
It
that
is.
that
It
is.
is.
This is the good shit.
Yeah. Pretty weird shit, man.
Ooh.
Pretty weird.
Ooh.
Let me, I'm trying to get a. I'll do that later. Just trying to get.
Yo, you gotta progress to the harder stuff, man.
I'm
Progress to-
sorry, bud.
I can't be the only one that's slurring at the end of the show.
No. I mean, I've got like 4.5 years. Is that not enough for you, man? Like, I don't know. You Canadians, yo.
What are you drinking?
Drink
Jack?
me out of the moose over here. I don't have to
What are
say,
you drinking? What do you got? What do you got?
I got local, which is now not local, but you know, I'm sounding like a hipster. Wicked Weed Pernicious IPA,
Nice.
which got bought out by Budweiser a few years ago, but it is a local brewery. So that's what I got.
I brought. I managed to bring a whole bunch
You
of.
want me to show you? You want me to show you what I'm drinking, Gil?
Please.
Oh,
More than anything in the world.
some 40 Creek.
He just pulls up the UFO from
Yeah,
the Russian video.
yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
look at what I've got. I've got a Russian baby that I am drinking. Jesus. Porta Creek. What did that say? I missed some syllables there. I didn't want to read it.
It's Niagara.
Niagara.
Niagara, yeah.
Niagara. Okay, cool. Yeah, there was a few letters missing in the light, and I was like, nope, I'm not falling for this one.
It's kind of hard to see. There, how's that?
Yeah, Niagara whiskey.
Yeah.
Niagara 5-finger whiskey.
5-finger whiskey. Yeah.
I managed to grab. I think I thought 18 cans of local BC brew home with me on my luggage. It was. I made it just under the 50 pounds. Wow, I made it. But it was.
Frank says fighting juice. Yes, it is.
Juice, yeah.
You have enough of this stuff, you'll fight.
I'm beginning to doubt that it's jet lag that's causing the. I'm starting to wonder a little bit.
Well, he's blaming it on jet lag. But
they had cans. They're called super tall cans of hazy double IPA, and they're 8.5. So I decided to grab a can. I grabbed a few of them. And I did notice that they're 8.5. Okay. Excuse me. And I cracked one open. Cracked 9%. There you go. There you go. I cracked one open, and I'm like, wait a sec. Yeah, this is not
40%.
Yeah.
So you had that 8%.
Amateurs.
So he had that extra 0 in there.
Amateurs, come on.
Like a U.S. IRS worker over here, just decibel, boom, just dropping that in.
I don't know. I don't mind drinking. I still got a few bottles of bourbon. I have to crack open. Good old bourbon.
I'm not a liquor person.
I'm not either. I stopped drinking it a long time ago, but I don't mind a bourbon here and there.
You better save it because you can't find it on the shelves anymore.
No, you can't.
I honestly, y'all, within the next year, hit me up. I live right next door to Kentucky. I got you.
There you go, man.
Can you siphon me up some of that? I've got Kentucky bourbon.
Yeah.
I got you. I'm right next to Kentucky.
I tell you what.
Tennessee. I got you guys. No big.
I tell you what. I'll send.
You need tobacco? I got you.
I'll send you down some of that Newfie Screech.
I don't know what the hell that sounds like. Some like maple leaf like toilet hooch, and I'll drink.
No, it's actually Jamaican rum. That's all it is. It's Jamaican rum.
Same thing. It's a Japanese maple leaf toilet hooch.
Toilet hooch.
I love it.
Christian is drinking some 10 barrel. Well, I haven't had 10 barrel in eons. Apocalyptic West Coast IPA. I used to love 10 barrel. I had a friend of mine who lived out there. Hey Terry, how are you? Thank you. Who would ship me some 10 barrel and that stuff. Have you had it, Gil? 10 barrel?
I don't mess with that. I don't mess with liquor.
No. It's not liquor. It's beer. It's beer.
There's a barrel involved. It sounds like beer. I'm scared.
10 barrels.
It may have been brewed in a barrel.
May I give an unsolicited shout out?
Sure, obviously. Yeah.
Okay. Kristen K-Boos, as she's known within the inner circle, Beer Booze Boogeyman, from the Paranormal Girl podcast. One of the hardest working, best producing podcasters out there.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree.
Alex, Steve, y'all know. And on my end, right, we have Joey and Gil from Black Cat Report. There is so much work behind producing content and stuff like this. Kristen is doing it on their own.
Yeah. And she does a great job.
Yeah.
But doing it, I just, all I can say is, at private meetings, when it's just Joey and I for Black Cat Report, and we're just talking about what do we do and how do we do this, we constantly use them as a standard. If folks haven't gone over to Kristen's show, to Paranormal Girl, and given them a look-see, subscribed,
absolutely,
dug into the seasons, y'all they're missing out. I can't stress that enough.
She's got an amazing show.
Yeah, you know what? We've constantly constantly push people over to Christian's podcast. She does a wonderful job. She has from day one done a wonderful job, and we've been so lucky to have her on here several times, and to fill in. I think she filled in for Alex a couple times.
She did, yeah.
And she's all around great person. She does a great job. Great job.
Yeah. I that popped up in the commercials, and I was like, "Hey, Booze, you motherfucker!" Like, so good. God damn it! If there's anybody that like the podcasters, the folks listen to, if there's anybody that they look up to, it's folks like K Booze. It's folks like Christian, where it's just like, damn, you're holding it down, girl. Like, always respect. Always respect.
And here we go. We'll throw it on here.
Please.
Because Terry was asking for a link. Here you go, Terry. There's a link there. Go subscribe. She does a wonderful job.
And
does a great
also
job.
subscribe to her if you listen to just podcasts as well. Like download her podcast as well.
Yeah.
Good. And if you don't like an episode, if you're like, I know all this, skip ahead 2 episodes. That's all I'm gonna say. Kristen does something that's fantastic, I think, within the content world, which is they take you from 0 all the way to 60. They walk you through the process of becoming an expert and interviewing the folks that are behind the scenes.
Yep.
And that's something that's really fascinating about Kristen.
What drew me to her podcast when I first listened, because I found out about Kristen through Reeves Paratalk Radio podcast, right?
Another great podcast.
Right. And the one thing that really stands out with Kristen's podcast, at least the initial, first season or 2, were her deep dives.
Yes.
Right?
Dude,
because
so good.
And I wanted to say this because she's sort of going back to that with the podcast, to the deep dives, and she's doing the interviews on YouTube. But one of the reasons why I loved her show, and I still love her show, I still listen to her, like I just listened to her latest episode not too long ago, is those deep dives, because it's unique. Because you can find interview shows, there are a dime a dozen. We're one of them here, like on this show right here. But what you don't hear enough of is shows like her where she does the deep dives into the topic at hand. Not just for one episode, but for a season.
Yeah. She like analyzes a topic and sticks with it for the whole season, which is really cool. It's like, when you're a paranormal investigator and you're going into a location to investigate this location, you just don't go in for one fucking night. You got to go in for like a whole year.
Yep.
That's what Kristen does with her podcast.
And you know what? It goes without saying. We love you, Kristen.
Yeah.
Hey,
seriously.
one lunar wisdom. How are you?
I think that's my mom. That might be my mom. So shout out to my mom.
Keeping tabs on you, huh? Keeping tabs on you. Making sure you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. She's like,
She's
are
making
you
sure
drinking?
I was just gonna say, she's making sure you don't drink too much.
Sorry, Mom. No, she's fantastic. Best supportive parent you could ask for. But yeah, thank y'all for indulging in my deep dive, and to appreciate.
Oh, not at all.
Because she's how we met. She's how we got connected, and so always shout outs to give respect to folks. I think.
Yeah. Well, it's
We gotta do a round table with everybody. Kristen, Gil.
Well, yeah.
The other gentleman from
bring the guys.
Triple B.
We'll do a we can bring the whole load of them on.
Don't say it like
Let's
that.
do
Man.
it.
That just sounds wrong.
Straw House.
Honestly, the whole load on our face, just
Honestly, yeah.
right there. You know what
I was gonna say, don't say it like that.
Sorry,
man.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
Although I hear it's good for complexions.
You know what I'm
We'll
saying?
do it. We'll do an extreme dark discussions.
Yeah, extreme, triple X rated.
Triple X rated dark discussions.
Would you? I'll bring this up to the group. Would you all want to come on to a Beer Booth Spooky Man episode,
Sure.
live call-in show?
I'll bring
We
my
take
beer,
calls
no
from
problem.
Canada. All right, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Now we just
I'm
need
game.
a boo and. All right. I'll throw this out to the group. This is no promises. I'm just putting some pressure on them on air. I'll throw it out to the group. The darkest thoughts you've ever had. What about that for a topic for an episode?
That
Oh,
Just
sounds
fuck yeah.
good.
darkest.
That sounds good.
And people can call in anonymous. It's all blurred out. We have
So,
no clue who it is.
I warn you
Tell us
now.
the darkest shit you've ever.
I warn you now. You may not
On
want to
there.
go that route with me.
I kind of want to go that route with you.
There's a reason why we can't go into churches without vomiting. No.
Takes a sip. Why shouldn't we go that route with you, Alex?
You want to hear some of my torture methods?
Yeah, I mean, have you read my Tinder? Yes, I do.
See?
Wow. Okay, so you strip a person naked. You throw in a bunch of broken glass onto a slide.
That's a good Tuesday. Okay.
Right. You throw them down right into an inflatable pool of alcohol. That's just one small.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's just one small
That's
one.
it?
I'm not going to give it all away now.
Alex, I thought that was a comma, not a period, man. Come on, buddy.
The period comes after.
Oh, okay.
The
All
period
right.
comes
All right.
after.
All right.
Oh.
Or it doesn't. And that's where the real questions come in.
How long did you scour the net to see
fishnets,
the most horrible stuff that you could find online? That's no longer, you can no longer find it unless you go into the deep dark web, if you will.
I have a direct answer, Alex. Or Steve, I guess you could follow up with yours. Yeah, one of y'all should go first. I have too clear of an answer. I don't feel comfortable jumping in so quick.
Come on, be transparent, Gil, please.
Right. And I totally slipped up. You asked. You asked me. You asked me.
Well, it didn't really ask you, but you kind of, put yourself in the position. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's called being triggered.
Triggered. Triggered.
No, Anatoly Slivko, serial killer that we dove into thanks to a listener request back on. It was like we're in episode 120 something, 130 something of Black Cat Report. This was episode 9, episode 8, something like that, and there was a Russian serial killer. Mm-hmm. One of the most fascinating facts about them was, they did so good back in the day with the Soviet Union that they were awarded a color film camera back in the 70s and 80s. Mm-hmm. Big deal. Doesn't matter where you're at in the world, but especially in Soviet Russia, really big deal, right? You're getting top of the line technology, which was probably snuck through the border to even get there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of involvement with young boys, and everything was on camera. Everything was on camera. And so for me, deep diving, researching into this serial killer that just, nobody in the U.S. language or in the English language had heard about, within U.S. borders, Canadian borders, English borders, Australian borders, doesn't matter. Nobody had heard about outside of a very small region in Russia. Finding his footage on the dark web, because he recorded everything. I can still see it when I blink. Mm-hmm. That's just real. I'm gonna be very honest with you. He had a fetish for cutting off the front of toes from the big knuckle on your feet down on dress shoes. Yeah. And seeing rows of dress shoes and then just clip, holding young boys' bodies while he's in the forest after strangling. dark shit. I don't know if that's where you intended to go, but I answered your question honestly, damn it. And
Yeah, no.
like, that's real. Anatoly
Yeah.
Slivko. Oh my god, makes Chikatilo look like, I don't know, children's play, like just like child's play, just like baby crap. Anatoly
God
Slivko.
damn it! Now we know where Walt Disney got his ideas from.
Honestly, all those
Honestly,
kids, mouse ears the whole time. I was wondering about. Horrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you kind of wonder because I mean, there's a lot of fucking shit in the mainstream that if you really deep dive into it, and you find out that it's not all roses where they get this shit from. I mean, you know, a lot of it just, you know, kind of continuing with Disney. It's not as bad as the Russian serial killer, but I mean, you know, Grimm's tales, right?
Brothers
I mean,
Grimm.
they were meant to scare children.
Yeah.
They were meant.
Yeah.
They were hardcore.
My mother, and this is kind of funny. So my mother, sorry, Mom, I know you're watching this. My mother, I would classify, and apologies, it's 2025. We'll talk about this later. Yell at me later. My mother, generally, I think most people would consider a witch, right? And like most witches, it doesn't ascribe by that title. You know, she's spiritual. She has her beliefs. She has this, that, and the other. But she doesn't get documented as a witch. This day and age, it's not a big deal for 99% of the world. They're like, yeah, okay, whatever.
No.
You know, like nobody, it's whatever anymore.
No.
Grew up in Germany, and she was just talking about the other day. She's planning on moving. She was like, I should get a fairy garden. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. You know, that sounds fantastic. But then my mom started to look into what fairies were traditionally represented as. They were fucking evil. Fairies were not good. Fairies ate people. Like it was like fairies took small kids and just gnawed into their necks, blood squirting out. Like it was not good, and it was more in line with the Brothers Grimm style stories. But then because of Disney, it became Tinkerbell. And it was all cutesy and like, oh, look at my slim fitting outfit, and it was like all, you know, whatever. It did not used to be like that.
A lot of the stories that were created by Disney weren't exactly, you know, good. They weren't. Just reading with Frank. Here, I'll put it up. There we go.
Can't pronounce that. Mirror invented by Soviet Nikolai.
Mr. Mythos did a deep dive on it. Oh, I'll have to check it out. Mythos.
I want to see that.
You guys hear about that experiment they did in Russia years ago?
Which one? They've done a lot.
No, I know. I'm trying to think of the details because it's been a while since I've researched it. But
you're not going to get into the fucking fishnets again, are you?
No. Okay. That's Melissa's fetish. But it's the sleep deprivation one where they kept people awake for God knows how many days, and these people just started losing their fucking minds. And just like I didn't do an in-depth dive on it, but just reading cursory stuff on it that's fucked. You know, that's just messed up because I mean you gotta just hold on. I gotta read what Melissa says. No, that's okay. He's talking about the fishnets talking. Okay. So Melissa and I have this thing going back and forth. She wants to see me in fishnets. I want to see something else. But the point is,
be a part of that episode.
Yeah. Where I'm wearing fishnets. You don't want to be a part of that episode. Trust me.
I will be a part of that episode.
But yeah,
he's inserting himself into that episode. You realize that, right?
But imagine being forced to stay awake days upon days upon days. Like, I mean, I've done all night. I'm sure all of us have done this in the past, all nighters, 24 hours, maybe even 36 hours. And you start going loopy at that point. Imagine being forced to stay awake beyond that, like a week, 2 weeks, a month of no sleep. And it's just, the Russian sleep experiment. Yeah. I don't know. That's fucking crazy, because you're bound to hallucinate and see shit and do shit that you regret.
That's for sure.
I worked for a tech company for a little while, and they always had these dumpster fires that would come in on Friday. And in order to save my job, but more importantly, the job of like 12 people I worked with who actually gave a fuck about more than myself, I would have to have stuff done by Monday. And so I'd pull ridiculous hours all weekend, never paid for. We've all been through that grind in some way, shape, or form. And there's something, and I would love to hear, especially from like your audience or from y'all, around that 36-hour mark to 48-hour mark of being awake. Has anybody else heard the children's laughter? I swear to God, this is a thing, but at a certain point, you start to literally hear little kids laughing. It will fuck with you for the rest of your life.
I remember going.
No.
I remember going into an investigation. I think it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, in and around in this old abandoned Pioneer Cemetery. And we had been doing work there, audio stuff, and kind of, because the history of it was kind of sporadic and scattered, and what the town had a lot of holes. All the information wasn't there. And so we were doing our own research, and we brought together some some personal diaries and so on to bring more light to the people who are buried in that cemetery. But I remember being up for, oh God, I was up for, I was working on a set, and I was up for, I think, about 27 hours going in there. I go, I can't sleep, so I'm going to do this. Went in there, and I remember just, doing some audio work, and it was so quiet, and because the area is so quiet, and except for the bugs and if there's any animals in the area or whatnot. But I mean, for the most part, it was quiet. And then all of a sudden, I could hear what sounded like a whole bunch of people talking. But I can't make out what's being said. I just hear it. I called it ghost chatter. Yeah. I'm like, this is what the, you guys hearing this? No, fuck what this is crazy. I'm hearing something. It sounds like people, like a lot of people talking, like whispering, not outright talking, but whispering in a low tone. And I can't, it's like in the distance, but I hear it. They're there. And they're like, no, we don't hear it. We don't hear it. I went through the audio, and you can hear it in the audio.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah. So I'm like, I told you I heard something. I told you I could hear something. And in the audio, you can hear that chatter. You could hear it. It was insane.
Dude, that is what?
So I literally thought, because I was up for so long that I was hearing stuff, but I really was hearing stuff. I really was. They weren't hearing it, and it was really.
Where the hell's the line?
Huh?
Where's the line?
There's
You know what
no
I'm saying?
line.
Because like you knew where you were at in terms of like your, I guess, responsibility to consciousness, right? If I could put it very
Yeah.
softly,
Yeah.
right? But then it got picked up on
It
digital recording.
it was on the audio. When I went through the
It's-
audio, I'm like, I'm hearing stuff again here. What? It
Dude,
was there. It was there. I played it over and over and over and over again. I'm like,
fudge that.
this is, and I started questioning myself to the point where it's like, okay, those guys didn't hear it. Did I somehow consciously imprint this? Now we're really diving deeper here. But I mean, how do you explain? Because they couldn't hear it. I could hear it, and yet they could hear it in the recording.
Isn't that how that's supposed to happen though?
Well, yeah, but I mean, generally you don't really hear anything. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you pick up in when recording, and I always put it down to the infrasound. I laid in the infrasound, aspect of things, where it's recording. Theory, obviously. Akashic records, drawing from it, who knows, whatever. But the fact is, it's not being influenced by radio waves. It's not being influenced by anything, a cell phone or whatever. It's not. It doesn't have that influence. It's something else is influencing it. So what's influencing this particular recording? Right?
So did you become like an antenna?
You tell me. You tell me.
Mike,
like I said, okay, when you said, oh, what, has anybody heard, being up 32 hours, 36 hours,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, that reminds me of the time I was up at DeForest, Alex, DeForest. I remember being up there and hearing this ghostly chatter. And it was driving me nuts. I'm like, I hear it. I can't make out what's being said. I would even say something to it. Say, hey, I can't hear what you're saying. Can you say it louder? Right?
Ooh, you got some honest. I would never talk to the chatter. I'm scared.
Well, it was like, okay, like what the hell, man?
And
that's a part of it. I mean, but again, in the in the recording, you can't. You just hear the chatter. You can't make out what's being said, no matter what. Right?
I'm scared as heck of that. You honestly, more than anything, you just gave me the period. You just gave me the shivers with like saying that you talked back. I'm like, I'm so.
Gil, I've done research. No. I've done research in this particular place. It's been a while now, but I mean, we had been doing research in this place for many years. And I remember one time going up there. I remember again going late at night. We'd go early morning when it was settled down, quiet, and you could, secure the place a lot better than you would, any other time. But I remember we were going up there, and it was cooling down, so there was a little bit of a fog, and and this is propped up on a hill. So we're walking up the hill, and the only light that's there comes off a street light that's down on the corner, and it's a country road. There's a house. There was a house in behind. That was attached to the land. It was actually the original home of the people that settled there in the early 1800s. And so we're up there, and we split into two groups. There's four of us. We split. The other two went to the front. we started walking towards the back, and in the back of this, there's in the corner, there's a whole bunch of children buried, from smallpox and influenza at that point. Many of them would die because of it. I remember walking up there, and I'm taking pictures with my camera. I'm just snapping photos, and I'm reviewing them as I'm going. And all of a sudden, something was off. Something was. Wait a sec. What's going on here? And I'm looking in front of me, and I've got two people standing in front of me. Right. And I'm snapping pictures, and in the photos that I'm reviewing, there's only one person in front of me. And I'm like, wait a sec here. What the fuck? Snap another one. Same thing. And, I called out to who I knew was in front of me. I'm like, hey, where are the other guys? They're still in the front. They went to the front of the cemetery. Okay, so who's in between us then? And as I said that, the person in between us walked off, veered off towards the back corner of the cemetery, and completely disappeared. I'm like, what the fuck did I just fucking witness here? I'm like, something, okay, it doesn't make it. Okay, who the hell was here? There wasn't anybody here. But there was somebody here. I was taking pictures, and it was only you in the picture, but when I looked up, there was somebody in between us. What the fuck? Did I just witness a shadow person? Is that what that was? And then, I'm like, no. Okay, let's go back, walk back up. Let's recreate this. This doesn't make any sense. Maybe it was a shadow from the street light bouncing off the fog, whatever. Right? So, we walked back down, walked back up, did exactly the same thing we were doing, snapping pictures, blah, blah, blah. Wasn't the same. Wasn't the same. Weird. But same place where I heard that ghost chatter. A lot of weird shit in that place.
Damn, dude.
But every time I took Alex there, he didn't feel anything.
I want a ghost deterrent.
He's a ghost deterrent.
I always tell people,
he's a ghost deterrent.
I always tell people, if you want your house cleansed or you want to get rid of your ghosts, just call me over.
Yeah.
No problem.
Every great podcast has to have that one person. Who
I'm not one person.
Nullifies.
Yeah.
The senior topic of the podcast.
Fuck never happens when I'm around.
But yet,
you've never had anything.
He's had shit happen.
No, I have.
Oh,
hold on. Hang on. Kristen's got a question. Alex says, it convince you at all hearing stories like this from Steve? Yeah. Yes and no. I know that's kind of like a vague answer. Stories, you hear stories from everybody. Obviously, when you talk about the paranormal, everybody's got some story. Oh, I don't believe in the paranormal, but one thing weird happened to me 10 years ago. Everybody's got a story, right? The problem with that is that it's up to a lot of it. I'm not saying Steve's in particular. I trust Steve. Obviously, I've known him for many years, but when it comes to the people in general, is that you have to either take it on faith that they're telling you the truth, or you believe that what they saw.
Wait a sec. Did you say fate or faith?
Faith.
Faith?
You take it on faith that what
you're not religious, are you?
No, I'm not.
Well, then why would you take it on faith?
Let's not get into semantics here, Steve. But the point is that like someone I don't know could say, yeah, I've experienced this and that, and I have photographic evidence. And then when I see the picture, I'm like, well, it doesn't really look like what you claimed it to, to be. That's part of the problem, right? So unless I experience it myself, it's going to be very difficult for me to believe it wholeheartedly and without doubt.
But if you were to ask him that same thing, say 10 years ago, the answer probably would have been different, right, Alex?
No, not really.
No,
that part of my belief hasn't changed a lot. What's changed about the paranormal with me is my outlook as far as the paranormal is concerned. I've become a lot more critical. I've become a lot less gung-ho about it, for lack of a better term. And only because of all of the shit that's going on around the paranormal field, as far as all the shows and all of the sort of bullshit, for lack of a better term. Right? That's the problem, right? So it's kind of disheartened me when it comes to the paranormal.
Here we go. What kind of fun are we gonna have here? Here, guys. Here we go.
Here we go.
Welcome.
Oh no, could be anybody.
This is Biblical Christological Account 40 Win here with a request for Steve.
Hey, how are you?
Biblically, I'm doing good. So I would appreciate
biblically, but no, like, just how are you?
This is an actual call.
No, without saying biblically, how are you?
Biblically is perfectly valid to avoid confusion, as I'm appealing to objective veracity. So my request, contra thou, is to repeat the following phrase: "Our God of the Bible is perfect."
Is that it?
Is that it?
Biblically, yes.
Thank you. You can now go and fuck yourself.
Oh man, I don't know. I just Melissa threw that in chat, so I had to play it. So
it was good. It was good, but I almost threw up. What just happened?
that was someone who called into the show. Somebody
called into
a few
the
years
show.
ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've had some pretty when Steve and I were on, we did our show. We were on Block Talk. We had a lot of interesting characters calling in to the call-in number.
We'll play the calls one day for you. Yeah, that's right.
Please, honestly, throw together a highlights episode. That sounds fantastic.
You really wanna hear a taste? I got it loaded on here.
Yeah. Make sure you play the full one.
Yeah, I'll play the second part once the first part's over. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, I have recordings of evil angels going in my purse, unzipping it and everything, and snorting and growling and all. And I recorded tapes when I didn't understand. Okay, when I couldn't understand the strange things that were going on in my house, I basically went something like a talkie growled like a cartoon. It went, oh, and then there was some chant like on Rosemary Baby. And then something solo and they're like, woo! And all of that. And so I let my good friend I called Mom listen to it. She said, I don't watch pictures like that. And so I've been recording down through the years various recordings. I accidentally recorded them walking along beside me, and they was breathing like that.
And see, this is the type of calls that Steve and I used to get when we were on Block Talk Radio.
Why did you quit?
Well,
That's what I want to know. I'm sorry.
Well, they started. The Blog Talk Radio was a whole different monster. They started changing the format and everything, and just
and now they're defunct. So
yeah, they're gone now. But
I'm signing up tomorrow and restarting them.
Yeah,
and not to mention we used to be on later, right?
Yeah, we used to broadcast. We used to start broadcasting at 11 from
11 till 1 a.m. in the morning
Eastern
here.
Time, yeah.
And that's when you get a lot more of the funny calls, the best calls. It's like it always start off like, yeah, I have a question for you guys, and then it's like, some stupid fucking shit.
But on the bright side of it, I mean, we got to actually meet some really interesting people like Justin.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's some fantastic people and some really great discussions, amazing discussions on the paranormal, and
like Justin from I don't even know if he still has the group or not, but anyway, the point is he called in many years ago when we first started doing the show, like maybe 2-3 years in, maybe tops.
Yeah.
And we've been friends ever since, right? I mean, we've been on the air now for 17 seasons. So it's
17 seasons.
I had no gray hair on my
Yeah.
beard when I first started, Gail, just to give you a heads up.
Like
This is the route you're taking.
Yeah, mine looks like the sage brush in the bottom right
Yeah,
corner of the image of
Sage. Well, it's been a fun journey, and it's we've met a lot of interesting people over the years.
Yes,
That's
we
for
have.
sure.
Yeah.
We have. We could definitely do a highlight reel.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of those.
We'll have to throw Ricky in there, and
Ricky, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of stuff.
A particular specific Canadian author.
Hey, I can't even find that. I don't know where that is now.
Oh, good. We'll say it never happened.
No, it's a part of the lore. So yeah. Definitely. But Gil, get your info out there. And again, we did put the link in the chat. Guys, do like and subscribe. Let me just see if I got it. I still have it there, I think. Or is that? No, sorry, that's Kristen. But we'll put Kristen's back in there. Again, Paranormal Podcast. Paranormal Girl.
Paranormal Girl Podcast. Yeah.
And then, hold on. And I've got the link right here.
Melissa beat you to it.
Did she?
Yeah.
There it is, guys. Go like and subscribe. Go like and subscribe to the Black Cat Report. And
if y'all show up, fantastic. If not, totally cool. Still love y'all. We emphasize trying to find the stuff that is hard to find within the paranormal community, because we started the podcast after being burned out on paranormal podcasts.
Yeah.
And then we decided to start a show. So it's like, all right, what's the shit we wish we found? And that's Black Cat Report. Don't ask me about the name. I bought the domain, but I don't understand it.
But I like it. I like it because exactly. Being burned out by all the paranormal bullshit. There's just so much of it out there, and it's sad. But yeah, it's a reality. Sorry, go ahead, go.
No. I was just gonna say it is, but it's like at a certain point, it's just like we started the podcast as an excuse for how can we research the shit we can't find content about and not go full fringe. Where it's just like we can talk to folks like, no. We have a podcast. People are like, oh, thumbs up. That makes sense. And it's like, okay, we can still, put on our skin suits and walk through society. That's the second time on the show I've said skin suits. I apologize. That's a horrible new tradition. Last time it had to do with Hillary Clinton, and I'm not taking it back. Anyway.
And the long line of body bags left behind. But okay, yeah, no, definitely, we'll have to have you all on for a dark discussions. The whole gang, have the whole gang on over. We'll have to.
We want you on for a live call-in show.
Sure, that too.
The dirtiest, most disgusting, darkest thoughts your folks have ever had.
Sounds good to me. I'm game. I'm definitely game.
Fishnets and all? Is that
fishnets and all. Fishnets and all. Fishnets and all.
I won't be the one wearing them.
No, he'll have them on his head.
Yeah.
Y'all like my new fishnets? All right. Well, I want to thank you again, Gil, for coming on, man. It's been a pleasure, and it's been an honor to have you, and definitely look forward to having you back on. And
thank you.
You know, and guys, yeah, the Black Cat Report. Go like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and again, it's available on all podcast realms. If you whatever you listen to, go grab it, subscribe to it. You won't regret it. Guys, have a good evening, and thank you all for popping in, and all you guys in the chat, all the new people in chat. Thank you. Much appreciated. Until not next Sunday because it's a holiday, but the following, yeah, it's Easter here, by the way. So until the following Sunday, y'all take care now and have a great one, guys. Take care.
Have a good night, everyone.
Later. Good night.